Time now for business. We cross to Davos and the World Economic Forum. France 24 business editor Kate Moody is there. Ukraine grabbing the spotlight this Tuesday.
It did because the opening speech was delivered by Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenska. She was here to thank the international community for its ongoing support for her country, which she said continues to be under siege. We know also that her husband, President Zelensky, is due to address a video message to the forum sometime on Wednesday. Now, she was followed closely by Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission. She also committed European support to Kyiv as long as it takes. Those were her words. The bulk of von der Leyen's speech, however, was devoted to a new clean tech industrial policy, which she hopes will soon be enacted here in Europe, with the goal of making Europe the home of clean tech. Now, this industrial plan will center around four main pillars. Regulatory is the first one, with the idea of simplifying and fast-tracking projects. It'll go hand in hand with a new Critical Raw Materials Act, which aims to reduce dependence on rare earths from China. The other three pillars include financing, a mix of loans and grants, as well as skills and trade. Now, this massive proposal is a response to the sweeping green subsidies that have been brought in the United States and China. Business leaders here had been very worried that manufacturers would prefer to move out of Europe in order to take advantage of those subsidies. The U.S. legislation in particular, which is called the Inflation Reduction Act, had prompted something of a diplomatic spat between Washington and Brussels. Many Europeans said it amounted to protectionism, and it was a hot topic for Emmanuel Macron when he visited Joe Biden back in December. There was, though, a very clear shift in tone during Ursula von der Leyen's speech here in Davos as she recast the U.S. as allies in this green tech fight. I spoke to her shortly after the speech. I asked whether she considers the U.S. to be a friend or a rival in this industrial policy area. Take a listen.
The United States are our friends and our partners, very clear. And it's very good that we are all now investing heavily in the green transition. Important is, if we look at green tech, the tech industry, that we have a level playing field. I think we should compete on content, on quality, but not on subsidies. And if such subsidies are necessary to boost the development of the clean tech industry, then we should do it as a joint effort, which we are just working on as European Union with our American friends.
And so does that leave China as the main competitor in this area?
Indeed, we want to work with China on fighting climate change, but it needs to be a work where fairness and a level playing field is provided. And we see that China is massively subsidizing, in a hidden way, its industries, while it is not giving access to the market to European companies. And that can't be, that is not acceptable. So competition is good, trade is good, but it has to be fair and a level playing field.
Wow, so indeed, China is the main rival.
Yeah, fighting words, really, from Ursula von der Leyen. And it's interesting timing, Francois, because just after her speech, the next person on stage here in Davos was the Chinese Vice Premier Liu He. He is the highest level Chinese official to attend Davos in several years. Back then, China had a different role, really, in what is now a shifting balance of global power. He brought the message that China is open for international business and investment, despite that fairly strong criticism that we've heard from the likes of von der Leyen and her American counterparts here. Also at odds with those messages, he said that Beijing wants to promote fair competition, entrepreneurship, and oppose monopoly on its domestic market as well. He did rather obliquely address these ongoing tensions with the West, saying that relationships with the United States in particular and the rest of the international community need to be rebalanced. He said that although data earlier on today showed that the Chinese GDP growth is slowing rapidly, he said that it would rebound, preferably, he said, with support and participation from foreign businesses. And he said that the COVID situation there in China is stable, despite these reports of soaring infection rates.
Yeah, this scramble for towards an energy transition, the energy crisis, it seems to be the dominant theme.
It's certainly one of the dominant themes, the ripple effects from the Ukraine war and how the international community has to cooperate in order to react. Those are really the undercurrents that we're hearing at every discussion, at every panel, at every speech here in Davos. Now, at the last meeting of the World Economic Forum, which took place last May, European economies were preparing for a very, very rough winter when it comes to energy. There were warnings of possible rolling blackouts and shortages as it shifted away from Russian oil and gas. Here we are in January. The worst has not come, at least not yet. Households and businesses still have light and heating. And Ursula von der Leyen told me that she considers that a triumph of EU solidarity and cooperation.
Kate Moody reporting live from the World Economic Forum in Davos. Many thanks.